Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Keys to AWS Optimization, the show we share stories, concepts, and solutions to help you unlock your spend at AWS. Today, we're talking all about some lovely agents to help with your FinOps strategy. We're going to be diving into 3 agents from the AWS side to help explain kind of what each of these things are and specifically when you should be using them. Because I don't know about you guys, but over the last 2 years, I've been bombarded with stuff. And it's often like, when do I use this? We can use this, we can use this. So we're going to do a bunch of demos today. I'm going to do a bunch of discussion. But please, if you're watching us on demand, make sure to like the video and also drop any questions underneath. And if you're watching us live throughout the session, you can add any comments, questions, and we'll bring them up. I want to make sure I cover this at the start of the video. If you're watching us on the AWS Events channel, amazing. But I wanted to flag that we also have this channel. So after this session, we're going to be taking a little pause for a while. Hopefully we'll be back. But any new content will come up on the Keys to AWS channel. So make sure you go on there. And you can also go on here and watch any past episodes of the show, whether they be recent kind of on AWS or like histories of years. I think we have 215 episodes of the show that you can dive into. 215.
That's so many.
So many shows. I got some comments saying hello from Virginia, hello from Canada. Who else we've got? Hey. Lucy says, have a good morning. How's everyone doing? Doing good. But let's do some intros. So my name is Steph Gooch. I'm a senior SA advocate at AWS. Savanna.
My name is Savanna Jensen. I am a senior FinOps cloud architect at AWS.
Perfect. Oh, what's this? What? You need syndication. What does syndication mean? I should have brought that up without
Step.
Means something. Anyways, let's start talking about this topic. So, Savannah, let's talk a little bit about this AI ecosystem that we've entered into. This was something you wanted to kind of like dive into at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. So unless you've been living under a rock for the last like 2 or 3 years, you're probably aware that we have something called AI or generative AI that we are working with in the tech industry basically every day. And I think it's like with any new technology, everybody gets really excited about it. We're all in the experimentation phase. I know Steph and I have both spent hundreds, if not thousands of hours over the past couple of years tinkering with this stuff, figuring out how we can use it, how we're going to integrate it into our daily lives. And I think now, at least what I'm seeing with my customers and with kind of our coworkers and our colleagues in the industry is a little bit of a focus on discernment and really thinking about how to integrate these technologies into our workflows in the most effective way. Because we've kind of gone through the period of everybody building an agent or people building 10 versions of the same tool and kind of iterating on those to get them as good as they can. And now it's more of a selection mechanism, like very similar to a lot of the AWS tooling that we have, or if you live in the FinOps ecosystem like we do, it's about discernment. It's about finding the right tool for the right job, fitting in exactly what you're looking for and finding kind of exactly where you can fill those gaps. So hopefully we can kind of talk you through a couple of the options today and help you get through that selection process and figure out which tool is right for which job and how to make your lives a little bit easier using the menu of options that you have in front of you.
Yeah, because there's going to be an element of it depends, because that's how we work. It always depends. And it also depends what's like your background is, what you're allowed to use is a big thing. A lot of what we're going to talk about is free at the moment or built in with a license you probably already have. So it's about depending what kind of things you are looking for. And a big part of this is you can use any of these things for all the concepts, but there's going to be different ones that you might like it to a little bit more. A couple of things in the comments. Jeff explained is when a show sold to networks across the world when you watch an old one from the 90s. Oh, like when you watch Friends or something. I see.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect example, Steph.
I did get a new Fox. Thank you very much. So there's 4 in here now. It's like kind of Where's Wally, but for foxes. And hello from Portugal. Whereabouts in Portugal? Porto is my favorite. Anyway, let's get into some of these kind of topics. who is using these? So we obviously work with like FinOps practitioners. People watching today are probably FinOps practitioners. Are you seeing many FinOps practitioners? Actually, Savanna, you come from like a quote unquote non-like codey technical background, and you've really dove into some of this stuff. How have you found this change to start utilizing AI assistants and tools?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably anyone will give you this answer, but part of the magic of it is it really lowers the barrier of entry to a lot of things that would have taken a really long time prior, or would have needed a SDE developer to kind of help with in the past. It lets you tinker, like we all know the word vibe code at this point, so very very convenient in that mechanism. Oh.
I'm back.
You're back? I'm back.
Yeah. Did you go?
I don't know. I was scared. I thought I went.
Guys, did we disappear? Mine just said disconnect, and then but we're still live. Jeff's still here.
I was like, if my Wi-Fi picks today to have a problem for the first time in months.
So let's say we switch places. I'll switch us back. Hey, we're back.
Okay, we're back. We're back to normal. That was scary.
Goodness, I don't know what happened there. Our producers just laughing at us. We got, do you know what? We said AI too many times in a short amount of time, and so it just kaboom.
It's like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, this is how you know we're live, folks. This is what always happens. Anyways, continue what you were saying, Sam.
Yeah. Anyway, I would say that it really lowers the barrier to entry and doing a lot of things that used to be a little more time taking or more difficult for folks who don't have a technical background. I think like maybe the simplest example of that internally is pushing documentation, or like anything that we have to work with internally that has like a Git branch that isn't necessarily code, but could be like a blog post or a user guide or something like that. Like if you're not from a CS background, that's a little bit unintuitive to figure out the first time. And now you can just kind of ask the AI agent to do it. And it's a lot easier to publish those things, to get new documentation out, to make what you've been working on live to the world. So that's like one toy example, but let me know if that kind of answers the question that you're looking for.
Yeah, 100%. It's this gradual like I think the speed, and someone's even put like love being able to build things so quickly. That can be apps in Quick, that could be things in Kiro, it could even be a new dashboard, because we love dashboards in FinOps. I almost saw them going out with a bang. I think the monsters hitting me. Some comments in here as well. The robots are listening to what Steph says. And finally I'm online. I feel like I'm always online, folks. You can always catch me in these kind of places. I've got a question. We'll do this and we'll go into some demos, folks. So how is the evolving FinOps landscape reshaping the responsibilities and skill sets required for modern FinOps practitioners, finance professionals, and developers? What do you think, Sav? Do you want to jump in first, or?
I'm going to take this a direction that maybe you don't anticipate. I think, at least from my perspective, being in any tech industry, but especially being in FinOps, which is an industry that kind of grew out of necessity and has been evolving over the last, like half a decade at this point. The thing that it's always really required is curiosity, the ability and desire to go tinker, go try things, go figure things out. Like if you're a FinOps professional first day in seat and there's a spend spike, like you got to roll up your sleeves and get in there and figure it out. And you might not have a lot of guidance to do that. Like the ability and the desire to go figure it out is what's critical here. And I don't think that's really changed. Like we're just figuring out a new space. The problems are a little bit different. The like optimization opportunity in front of you and the technology may have shifted and progressed. We all hope that happens. Like we're hoping that there's forward motion, but your grit and your desire to go figure out what's going on is really what's the cornerstone. That's my perspective.
Excellent. Yeah. And I mean, I have to say there's a lot where a lot of what we're doing with AI isn't actually that different, especially when it comes to concerns about spend. It's the same as when we all moved from on-prem, because it's all kind of hard to forecast. It's all shifted left, and developers are in charge, and it's still the same. I think it's just the speed, and I think a lot we were talking about FinOps X before we started this. The concept of like token maxing, where businesses pushed for AI without thinking about it, is the same as when we were pushed to get things on the cloud without checking the financial footprint. It is exactly the same, but I think that it's just that the scale is a bit bigger with those expenditures because maybe we're not as in control of it. Before we had to spin up an EC2, might have been too big, but now we're setting off a workflow which is thousands upon thousands of hours of things just running and running and running without kind of changing.
I think we see the tooling evolving in like a similar way too, because I mean, if you think back to, I don't know, 2016, 2017, the amount of transparency that we had into a lot of the cloud resources through native tooling or even like through piecing together the cost and usage report, the DBR back then, detailed billing report. Back then was a lot different than what we have now. If you look at our like current in-console tooling in AWS, like we have very sophisticated monitoring tools. We have a lot of data granularity. So we're just kind of re-experiencing that with AI right now. Like even if you look at the launches in the last year in terms of how to slice and dice this stuff and understand how those tokens are falling and kind of enrich the data with more granularity, like we're going to continue to see that momentum, and you can grow and progress along with it.
Yeah. And it's going to keep changing. We just got to be able to, like you said, the announcements recently have enabled us to see a little bit more into the data, and we've got to keep pushing for that. If anyone has any questions about, we're looking internally about ROI and cost allocation, especially for stuff like Claude Code and being able to see a user's tokens. If you got any questions, drop us an email, costoptimization@amazon.com, and we will follow up, or any feedback and things like that. I had another question. Hi from Australia. Hello from Australia. Goodness, what time is it? I can't even do the math. Wow. Thank you. Hi, Matt. Should I be focusing on cloud and security right now? If that's what you're looking to do career-wise, then I would definitely. I mean, career. You also do FinOps, is what we'll talk about. But check out this. What should we call it? This channel. There's so many different resources to learn about this. But I think what's going to be really important is looking at what you want to dive into. And if you're just starting out, check out things like the AWS practitioner certification. That will give you a good grounding, and then you can kind of figure out what topics you want to do.
I misread that, and I thought it said, should I be focusing on security in my cloud? And I was like, yes.
Oh,
you should.
Yes, you
Please
should
build secure infrastructures. Thank you.
We've also had a question: is it possible to optimize AI infrastructure? Yes, it is. Yeah. There is so many ways to do this. Too many to go into right now. I will say I showed earlier that YouTube channel. I'll bring up the link on here. Go and have a look on Bedrock optimization. We've done some episodes on that. That is what you're going to want to check out. But the email I showed earlier, reach out if you want any more detail. On that channel, I also just published a video about kind of prompt management. So keep that kind of stuff coming in. But let's get into some agents. Let's actually get into the topic and start talking about these different agents we have. So we're going to talk about 3 agents today. We're going to be talking about Amazon Quick, and then we're going to talk about Kiro, and then we're going to be talking about
the FinOps agent. Brand new.
Which we did last week. We did this last week, I know, but we're just going to be using it as a, so we're not going to go as heavy into that one. It's going to be more as a comparison between the 3, so you know what the 3 options are. Sav, do you want to explain what Amazon Quick is, or do you want me to?
Can you pull up the demo?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at it. I feel like it's a little bit easier to conceptualize when you can see it. So Quick is essentially what I would think of most as like my personal assistant type of agent if I'm going through daily tasks. Like think asking questions, think integration with email, with Slack, organization, helping with kind of that first layer of anything that you would ask like an intern to do, basically.
Yeah, and we have 2 different versions of it. We have Amazon Quick Desktop, and we have Amazon Quick in the console-ish. If you remember Quick Site, that's where you're going. It's just we now have these AI capabilities built within it. So the Quick is like the umbrella. We have Quick Suite, which is a range of tools. So we have lots of different elements that includes the dashboards that you're used to, but we also have research, we have flows, we have spaces of information. So what I'm talking about today is just the Quick Desktop. So if people are using kind of local assistance, like Savanna was saying, it's stuff that you're doing like low-level tasks and things like that, and also business stuff. So it connecting to your Outlook and stuff like that can add more information to it. But it can be simply, if we think of a FinOps persona, I always go in with like, and I've already loaded these so we don't waste time. Things like asking how much I spent, right? This is a question people always get asked with FinOps. And if you set it up right, and I'll come back to how you set it up, it will dive in and be able to extract all the data from Cost Explorer. So this is like a real simple thing, but if you need it locally and you need it repetitively, we can gather this kind of information quickly. The other thing is like scheduling reports with this. So like a lot of people love to get these messages. They want to get this sent out. And also think about it. If you are sitting there thinking, I have to create 7 different reports every week for 7 different teams, getting Quick to do it for you is going to save you a massive amount of time. And this is where it comes into it as well, because you can add in different times, you could add in some other context, and you could say, hey, get this data, but only filter it to certain accounts, and feed it some kind of context information so that you know this. And also who to send it to. You could say, oh, send this person to this. Or if someone asks you a question about their account, you could get that answer quickly, and I'll show you a demo of that in a minute. The scheduling reports is all really, really nice. One other thing that I like about it, we were talking about it the other day, was looking at like data to analyze for you. So a little bit of a step up, like going in and doing some research for you. And it could do things like, for example, it noticed, speaking of AI, my bedrock costs change. And so I asked it to go and investigate, like, why did it do this? And also make me a slide, because people love PowerPoints, right? We either get CSVs or we get PowerPoints out of this. And it's not going to make you the most beautiful PowerPoint, but if you want to just get something to throw kind of like to your manager, this is a nice, quick way of it just doing it for you, right? And for people like me, who's not the best PowerPoint makers, getting some kind of idea to start with is going to be really helpful, especially because someone might just say, hey, can you do this? And it's done all the formatting for you.
Yeah. I think that the thing that I love to use it for is exactly what you just shown, the like one slide summary view.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to toss like not even a PowerPoint, but like a PDF version of just like, here's a summary of information. You don't even have to have Quick calculate it for you. Like if you have your own spreadsheet or you want to tell a story with data and you just need like a fast little quick version of it, you can drop that in and basically say, hey, can you like create a one-page view of this data or create like an HTML report of this data? It just puts a little bit more polish on what you have and can translate that into a visual super quickly.
Yeah. And to go back to, I'll jump back to in a second, but just to kind of, there's also a lot of really, really cool stuff that I will drop a link to an episode I did on my other show about how to use this and all the amazing capabilities that happen in Quick that are too many to go through right now. It's just like a small component, but you could add in like a lot of the knowledge of you as a person who's working. And I think that's where it gets really interesting, when it adds all that kind of extra data and stuff like that. There's the other video. Grab this link. I'll post it in the chat. So feel free to go check out that one about Quick, and it will definitely help. But once it's kind of done a slide, which I think is quite good, I even love like, you could schedule me a meeting to the person, like, and it's so simple as that. And I loved it because it was like, here's when both works. Who doesn't? I hate trying to find slot to work, and I'm like, I love that it did this for me. Like, it's really simple stuff. And I know this isn't like, I think if you showed this to us kind of 2 years ago, we'd be like, oh my god, this is amazing. But it's also like, this is the basic element. I'm going to play a video in a moment to show you a little more of an advanced one, but I do just want to show everyone how I was able to connect Quick Desktop to this. And this was through the billing cost management MCP. So I have this MCP I've connected down here. If I just show, because I think this is a more interesting view, you could do this either connecting through Kiro if you have Kiro on your laptop, or you can just import a file, or even do it like I've kind of done in here. You can ask Quick for help, but I'm using environment. I'm using profiles to get this. So I have a way of logging into lots of different profiles in my account. I've logged into my AWS organization, and this allows me to get all of the cost data for my org. And then if I need to break it down into different parts, then I can get it to filter this by account ID or context I have. So this is how you get that connection. It is through the billing cost management MCP. So it doesn't natively connect specifically to this. So there's a little bit of extra work you have to do, but I think it's worth it. I'm going to play a video in a second, but I see some questions that I want to bring up. Here we go. For technical roles, is AI widely used to assist work, or employees expected to memorize scripts and every detail for a chosen field? I feel like now it is becoming more of an expectation to be able to use AI. And this is the discussions we're having a lot internally, that is it bringing value is a big question. Like just because I remember someone saying to me that they had like Claude running, Kiro running on like one screen, and then on their iPad they had like something else running, and I was like, is it good stuff? And you become like a bit of a person just like clicking everywhere. And it's like, yes, I can make 5 applications now, but are they 5 good applications? Are they bringing benefit? Like, what is actually being built? But I do think it is expected. But what about you, Steph?
I think this brings us back to kind of that discernment question too. And we were talking a little bit about this when we were doing kind of some of the brainstorming for the episode, like, and talking about PowerPoints. I am a person who loves to make a PowerPoint. Like, I really enjoy it. And when I'm putting together the PowerPoint slides, it helps me think through my talk track, think through like how I'm going to present this information. And it like really forces me to sit down and like ruminate on the story. So even if I do use an AI tool to help like clean up some of the slides or like get a starting point, I am still myself going to dedicate the time to essentially like put it together by hand, probably more so than most, because there's a little bit of extra work and like extra synthesis that's going on in the background there that I really value. For this question specifically, I think it's about understanding which parts of your job are things that you find value in, or things that you're really putting that cognitive effort into. Continuing to do those and seeing where AI can kind of take away some of those tasks that you don't find as much value in, or are just more of a time suck. And in terms of memorization, like, it's similar to the search engines of the early 2000s, right? Like, I used to I remember printing out directions from maps.
Oh my God. Let us know in the chat if you're old enough to remember this. We're not even that old. I'm like, old.
Like, I remember printing out directions when I was driving somewhere, or like using a map book to drive somewhere. Now I have Google Maps. Like, we have to memorize different things. I memorize numbers very easily. I have all my customers' payer accounts memorized. Like, that's not something that I had to do, but it's something that happened and that I'm like decently good at. So I think in terms of the memorization, like, there will be things that you will commit to memory that other people won't. There will be things that you'll continue to use a search engine for, and there will be things that you will use AI for. It's all just about rebalancing and figuring out which pieces make sense where. So back to that discernment question.
A lot of this is like about time, like you said, but the like search engine example is a really good example of like how it's changed. And we're now using, even in you Google things now, it uses Gemini Star, right? And it's really important to think about how it's helping you, not how it's making things worse for you. So I know I could go to Cost Explorer and get that, but would it take me a little bit longer to go and do that and format it and share it in a nice way? Potentially, like, can I use my energy somewhere else? Because what we don't want to do is, I'm not saying AI is going to replace the work you do every day. What I want to do is have AI replace the boring work that I don't want to do every day. And then you have time to do this. And I agree with Savanna, we're talking about the PowerPoints. I like the fact that AI can kind of spit a bunch of stuff out, and then I could be like, right, let me wordsmith, let me change this, let me learn from what it's saying. And then I often go back to things like Quick and ask for more detail and get it to explain things to me. So part of my job, as we all know, is to explain things to the globe about FinOps and other topics. So if I don't understand it, I can't explain it. So I have to get AI to go with me step by step to explain it. And it's like having an expert that I can chat to. We have a question from Travis, which is, when would you use a FinOps agent versus doing something similar on Quick? I feel like Quick could easily customize what you want. We will be doing FinOps agent later, so if you haven't seen that yet, don't worry. But a big thing I push with Quick is that it can connect to your dashboard. So if you are a heavy Kudos or CID user, and you, especially if you have multi-organization, then using Quick is going to be better, because that way, yes, billing cost management server is great because you can connect to a payer account. But what we want to do is look at, can you connect to multi-payer and multi-recommendations that can be aggregated into the Kudos dashboards. And so what you'll do is you'll set up a space in your web version, and then you'll be able to add the dashboard to it, and then you can query that. And that's a good way of kind of bridging the gap, so you can combine those two sets of data. So at the moment, I am not sure if billing, can you do billing views across organization now?
Yes, you can definitely do billing views across organizations now.
Yeah, so there is that as an option, but you can't do the cost optimization information. So if you're using the dashboards with recommendations in them, then that's a way of pulling it in. Also, if you have any like tag information you've added in there, or a taxonomy kind of information, then that's going to be in there. So there is a big thing. And I think that the resources that I like about Quick, I've given it like Amazon templates for things like PowerPoints. When Travis is saying like you can customize it, I've given it stuff, and I've also given it skills to redo things in a way that I like. And so that's kind of interesting. So it's a good question.
Yeah, I think it's mostly about like what kind of data you want to pull in and what kind of scope you want to be looking at, and we'll cover that a little bit with FinOps Agent at the end. But yeah, I think tool selection also is about not just output, but like how much control over the input and like how broad of an input you want it to have.
But if you want to, I'll do this last time and then we'll kind of finish off on it. But this is a video. I know I don't normally do videos. It's just because it was a very specific example that I had to do live. And so I wanted to give an example of something. This is a really, really short clip, but the idea of what if someone's asking you for optimizations and you have like context somewhere, but you are like, if someone asked me if I was a FinOps practitioner, people would be like, oh, can you go look up my account and find some optimization? I'm like, oh, I have to go find out what account is actually their account, get those account numbers, go to that account, go to the organization, export that data, blah, blah, blah. But in this, it takes seconds. So in here, this is the activity feeds. So this is where all of things like your Slacks, your Outlooks come. And in my example, Sabrina has messaged me saying, hey, how do I optimize my account? So I'm just play this, saying, can you do that? And I'll go to chat, so into a new chat, and I'll give this to my agent, and it will say, sure. It will go load a bunch of context and say, who does Sabrina work for? What accounts is it? Then it will use billing cost management data, filter to that account, and then create me a Slack message, which I can review and check is actually made sense, and then send it to her. Boom, done. And then it will go over and then send it to Slack. That in it, like I've cut a little bit of the like compression time, but I didn't do anything. Like I didn't edit any of this. And so what I think is really cool is it speeds up those questions so that when you need to go and learn about like optimizing AI or dive into these like big data sets, you're not bogged down with going to get reports for people. The other thing that obviously we always encourage is to get people to look for their own data, I know, but this could also, you could customize it and say, hey, I did this. Next time, go here, and you could automate that kind of a Slack message. So I think that is very important when it comes to these ways of working. But last thing on Quick is what I would say is go check it out if you haven't. If you need any questions, there's also a free version of just Quick as an assistant for your desktop that we just released at the New York Summit. So you can go and get that. I'll find the link for that. But what I really recommend is trying it out. And if you're a finance person who doesn't want to go to the console, who doesn't want to deal with the like code and CLI and all that kind of terminal, blah, blah, you just want to have something that you can ask questions to, this is the thing.
Absolutely.
Any final words on it, Steph?
I would say, honestly, on that final note too, if you are coming into one of these roles with basically like half the picture. So if you're coming from finance and you don't have a big tech background or vice versa, using these outputs in conjunction with tinkering and going through the console and trying to replicate what's been spit out of the tool is going to help you learn really fast and understand kind of the mechanisms behind this stuff and understand AWS spend a lot faster. So that's another thing that I've seen folks kind of lean into in terms of like self-study and training. So like use the outputs that you're seeing, go into the tools, see where they came from. Like that's going to help you build that intuition and understand the underlying like ecosystem a little bit better. So don't sleep on thinking about how you can use those outputs to like grow your own skills too.
Perfect. Let's go on over to our next agent, which is going to be Kiro. So we've done some kind of little bits on Kiro before, but just as a reminder, Kiro is a coding assistant within your IDE. So where people build their actual code. And the big benefit I see with this is that it's for developers. So we're kind of shifting persona to be more developer focused, which means that when we ask questions, as a developer, we're not going off to somewhere else. We're not going to a dashboard. We're not going to another chat thing. we're right in where we're building, so we can ask technical questions and get technical responses. We can still add in things like the billing cost management MCP, connections to our accounts, getting all that data, but it's often focused more into a project or a set of accounts. And I want to just one thing we said earlier, which is we're talking about billing views. So billing views we could do cross organization. If you are an account owner, maybe you're a project owner, you own 3 AWS accounts and you create a billing view, you can get Kiro to look at that billing view if you attach to the right account. So that allows you to have that scope of comparing like your dev, your tests and stuff like that. So it is a lot about kind of setting things up. But anything else you want to mention about Kiro, Sav, before we kind of go into the demo?
In addition to the IDE, you can also just use it in the CLI. That's how I usually use Kiro, to be honest.
So, yeah.
I've got my terminal up. I'm chatting. I'm just Kiro chat right in the CLI. So
yeah,
another
great point. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, using the CLI version, it's just a different kind of thing. It's becoming more like a chat. Like we were just saying, like more of a chat version, whereas this one, and I'll show you now, it's probably easy to explain. So there's 2 different ways to think about Kiro when it comes to your IDE. We have Vibe. We all love a Vibe code. We've done some Vibe code. Me and Dan did a whole Vibe double episode on something, which is great. But if you are more of an advanced developer, you want to be spec driven, so you want to come up with a specific requirement of what you want, and then you build out in different stages involving like testing and development, then that can be more controlled. Jeff says CLI is for Mac, right? No, CLI is for both Windows and Mac. It's just that you're using your terminal or your, what's it called in Windows? PowerShell?
PowerShell, I think. I don't know.
PowerShell is the thing. So. Yeah, Darko's got the 2 taps on it. It's actually what this bit is. So this is my terminal. So I could do Kiro. I can't spell Kiro CLI. Hopefully it will log in. I haven't actually. I checked if I'm logged in. And this will be how I can have a discussion with Kiro. So yeah, it's initializing and stuff like that. So it becomes a way for me to chat with this. I actually want to go back to that account, but come out. And then I can ask a question. Who is the best developer ever? I don't know what will come back. I just do things like but yeah, you can do this. Let's see what it says. Oh, some people. Don't know who these people are. The art of computer programming. These are old school. It's missing. Don't worry. It's because I've got a cap on tokens. It's missing me from it. That's why. Where am I when you were drinking?
You got me with that one.
Oh, that's funny. Anyways, so we can come out of this for now. But let's talk a little bit about Kiro. This is what it looks like. It looks very similar to Visual Studio if you're used to using that. But in here, again, for technical people, you can ask questions in the chat, and I'll show that in a second. But one thing I did wanted to showcase was something that everyone should be getting if they're getting a power in Kiro is Kiro Powers. So Kiro Powers are over here. You can see I've got a couple of ones installed. There's loads available that help. And they basically package together hooks, steering files and MCPs into kind of a more focused approach. So in this example, I have a cost optimization power, which has a bunch of steering documents that give you advice on how to be optimized, how to think in a cost optimized way. We have MCPs connected to billing and cost management. We have, I think it's CloudWatch and pricing. So rather than you install each of those, it does it for you. And then we also have hooks. So whenever a file is saved, it will review the steering document and say, oh, you could actually be optimized a little bit if you did this. So it will kind of be more critical. But I've already connected, like I said, to my account. So if I say how much, or how can I save on my spend? Something like that. It will go and you can see it's loaded up a bunch of documents, MD files, which have the steering information, but also my project, so it knows what it is. I've opened this, so it has all of my infrastructure as code, so it has a little more context. And because I'm in the right account, it can go straight in and start to find those optimization opportunities. So it's going in. This is like, what is this getting? This is getting less recommendations. So this is getting cost optimization hub. And you can see it's connected to that billing cost management. So it's very similar to what we just showed you. And there's, hey, basically the same message I sent to Sabrina. Hey, you can do, here's some spend, here's ways to optimize, and you get this. But again, it's very code heavy. So what I could also do is say, can you go through my code and make, hopefully this will work, make these savings. So hopefully what it will do is it will start to look through my infrastructure as code, and it will say, oh, here are some opportunities that we can make these savings. So like we were saying earlier, the reason why this is so good is because it's going straight into the code versus manual changes or advice or PowerPoints. It's a very different kind of persona.
Absolutely. One quick tip for this one that, I don't know, might be a little bit more applicable to the folks who are on the finance role side, who are a little bit less comfortable with the command line. If you have to pull pricing for anything, or if you have to subset a pricing file, this is magic for that. I love Kiro CLI for pricing API for anything that I have to do about like what if analysis for different flavors of EC2, or understanding like all of the different offerings in a certain region. It's so helpful for that, and so much easier than like having to pull it from the pricing API and DIY it yourself, or going through all the web pages. Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, these are great to kind of pull this information together, because a lot of this stuff is, again, it's manual work we don't want to be doing in the first place. And what you can see is all these files that have changed, or they've gone red, they've had updates done to them. So I'm trying to think if I can find something, but you can see all these examples of things that are going in and actually making the change. So look how many files are in here and how much knowledge I would have to have as a developer for cost optimization, explicit knowledge to know that I could go and make all those changes. That is a lot of things to understand. Like someone was asking earlier, like memorizing all this stuff. And this is where it kind of makes those changes. What is important that we do is validate that these changes are good changes to make, that they're not going to have impact on your performance of your application, that you're not going to lose any kind of important things you don't need. But you can start to see all this. It's still going, it's still running through all this stuff. But yeah, it is crucial that we bring together how stop it being something that's like manual people have to fix, because what we don't want to do is we want people to be encouraged to be optimized from the start as well. So running these checks before it hits deployment is going to be really, really important.
Yeah. And I don't, maybe there's like a interesting nuance here, but I think there's a difference between like memorization and remembering. So like you memorize what DynamoDB is, right? Like, you know what that service is and what it does. This is more like, I don't want to have to remember which CloudFormation template whatever infrastructure is. So it's helping take away some of that like remembering that's a little bit lower stakes and like really annoying. So you don't have to go and look through every one to figure out which launch template you've got a GP2 in. You can just tell it, go look and find it.
Yeah. Go find these things, change it. You're right, exactly. Speed is a big thing for it. And also, if you inherited someone else's project, like we were just about people leaving before this call. Imagine if you left and you were given this giant set of files and you're like, oh my goodness, I do not want to go through and manage all this. Like, I've got to go understand how it's connected. And then you get a challenge of someone saying, you need to save some money on this project you just inherited. And you're like, I don't even know what it does. So you can use AI to gather all of this stuff. We've got a couple of questions I'm going to run through. To what extent does AI automation enhance or potentially reduce human oversight in cloud cost management and optimization strategies? Sav, any thoughts?
I think this is a good segue into some of the stuff that FinOps Agent does, and I'll talk specifically about like the AI backing behind cost anomaly detection that we've been iterating on over the past couple of years. It's not necessarily completely replacing human oversight. It just makes it easier for us to ask the right questions and find the right things to look at more quickly. Like at the end of the day, if you find an anomaly in anomaly detection, you still have to go and talk to the developers and figure out what's going on there. There's that human element to understanding what's going on in the infrastructure and if this is something that's expected or not. But the AI automation piece of it takes it from like you digging through cost data to it being served to you in the morning when you come in and saying, hey, like this resource spun up, or like this account went up 10x. You should probably go figure out what's going on there.
Yeah, and good example, we didn't go into it, but like anomalies. Oh no, we're going to talk about it next. Sorry, with FinOps Agent, we'll talk about some anomaly stuff like that. But a big thing as well is, like I just said with the testing, if you are the person whose name is behind a pull request for code changes and it breaks, you are still the person who did this. If you get Quick to write you an email and the email has incorrect information in, I may have done this recently, then you are the person who sent the email, right? You can't, even though I want it to be like, oh, Quick did it wrong. That's not, people are like, why didn't you sense check it? So I do, as a cautionary tale, someone did this recently, please make sure that you review things that your AI produces. Like, we're getting to a point, someone was talking about this, where we're just becoming like, we used to be really vigilant about let me check, and now people are like trust, like keep going. And it's become this level of like, it's asking us for trust, but it's asking us for trust every 2 minutes. So you really have to think about, how can I set it to work so that it does the thing I want it to do and not ask me for trust, but how do I make sure it flags things that are dangerous? Like, don't just trust the remove part of like of your kind of a terminal, because if it can delete everything. No, we don't want it to delete everything.
The typos, they're growing teeth.
Exactly. Okay, let's do. Can Kiro CLI be used for DevOps and platform engineering work too? Yeah, I mean it's a huge, it's a giant AI system that you can use in here. That it's for everything. I'm using infrastructure as code as an example, but I've used it to make applications. You can use it for so many different things. So go and experiment that. Go try. And like I said before, I don't think I've seen you here before, but if you have any comments, questions, feel free to email us at costoptimization@amazon.com for anything. It sounds like a horror movie, typos with teeth. Don't bring it the banter. Last one on this. Just curious, is this wrapped up with Claude Code and knowledge being MCP? 9.
Oh, nonetheless looks very useful.
Oh, yeah. So you can. So if I bring it back up, just down here on the bottom.
Thanks for saying that. This is another thing that I was gonna call out and forgot about. Kiro does allow you to model select, which is great for a lot of folks who have a little bit more understanding of that, and I've found very fun to tinker with, because you get to see like which ones give you different things and how that looks. So stuff.
Yeah, and you also get different amounts of credits, or uses different amounts of credits. So credits are how Kiro is charged. So just be mindful that these have an effect on your charging. So they just have a play. There's going to be reasons behind it. I encourage everyone, if you are using AI, to try different things for different reasons. You don't always need to have, if you're doing very simple tasks, you don't need to have like the huge models doing everything. You can have smaller ones. I don't think with Quick you can model select. So there's also an element there, which is we need to make sure that you can choose those things. I like this from Jeff, which is, in the future, kids will say, I couldn't complete my homework because I ran out of tokens. Well, that's probably going to happen now. Excellent. So final words on Kiro. If you are from a technical background and you want to if you want to encourage or develop, or you have people in your company that are technical and you want them to optimize, encourage them to start using Kiro, because that is going to be the way they can integrate with their existing workflows and start to optimize. But I will say, like Savanna, if you are not from a super technical background, you can still get to use Kiro. Like the IDE version is very kind of like a chatbot element. The CLI version is not too difficult to set up, but it does allow you to build things, which is super cool. So if you want to build like a little app, or at least try building something, like you can start playing with this, which is why I've built quite a lot of like little web apps that I use for demos or for gamification and stuff like that. Perfect. Someone said, keen to give it a try. Tried it a while ago when it first launches. Well, let us know how it gets on. I would love to know, as a huge favor to me, ZB_C. Let me know, like cost optimization, Amazon.com. Let me know how it goes. Please. We'd love to have the feedback. Perfect. Anything else you want to say on Kiro before we move into the last one?
I think that covers it. Let's move on to FinOps Agent.
Excellent. Okay, FinOps Agent. My session expired. Savanna, do you want to explain FinOps Agent while I relog back into my account?
Rough. Okay. So FinOps Agent is frankly exactly what it sounds like. It is the new launch from, was FinOps X 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
2.
Right now it's in essentially like a preview version, but it is an in-console within our tooling suite version of an agent that you can configure to kind of automate repeated tasks that a FinOps person would usually be doing. So I kind of chatted a little bit about cost anomaly detection previously, but the example that I've been liking to use is basically like recurring reports sent right out of essentially the tooling suite that you know and love within AWS is a good one. Anomaly detection. So if the FinOps agent detects that something is going haywire, it can do that analysis in the background, send you an email, a Slack, etc., while you're asleep. So the first time, like when you log in, you already have all of the investigation ready to go. You already have the notification, and you can kind of take it forward and do the people part. And the agent's kind of done all of that analysis and synthesis prior.
Perfect. And we did, like I said, a whole episode on this last week, a real deep dive with Jason on how to set it up. So if you really want to get into the weeds of this brand new service, that is the episode to check out, and you can get there through the playlist on the Keys database. So if you search for that, you'll get to the playlist that you can use. But just as a reminder what it looks like, so we've got our FinOps Agent service that you can find in your console now. I have made myself a little agent. It's a really quick, like 3-step setup. And then you get to be able to open this little window. I mean, after seeing Kiro and Quick, you can see they all look very similar. This is where some of the challenge comes in. You can set automation, so we can have weekly reports, like we just said with Quick. You can set to that. You can have context files, such as what we were talking about with my Springer example, or even with the context of our applications and things that we've built. And you can create resources. So in here, we've got examples of HTML files, but you can make PowerPoints. It's similar. You can start to see where these things overlap. The big thing with just with the kind of chatting on things. Oh, where have I gone? Let's go over here. Oh, why can't I do this? Spending analysis. There we go. Cut this down. Too big. So, for example, I could ask questions such as, how much did I spend per service? And again, it's going to give us the same data that we've seen several times today. A cool thing with this is you can integrate it as well, similar to Quick, with Slack. So I said, send this to Slack. And here it is straight into like a Slack example. So there is a lot of power here with sharing it. The big thing about this one, it is in your AWS account. And you kind of, yes, I come off to a different web page, but you set it up in your AWS account. And so at the moment, you could look at this from, like I said, your organization point of view, similar with Quick, and dive into this, or each account can have their own setup, but it is kind of siloed. So if you want to have, if you're a person who manages just one organization, this would be a very powerful thing. Yes, it connects to Slack, but it doesn't connect to things like Outlook. So if you're doing more business focused things, it's less relevant. But if you want to get in somewhere that's integrated in your account and has all the information you need, and it's not going to get confused about any kind of cost stuff, there's no extra setting up of billing cost management MCPs. It's already embedded here. So if you want the kind of, I would say the lowest lift, it's this one, but it also has the less integration to other things.
The other thing that I would note here too is think about the structure of the team that is working on your FinOps. If it is one person, if it's just you and you're doing the dang thing, like it might make the most sense. And especially if you've customized a lot within Kudos and within QuickSight already, like if it's centralized to you, it's totally okay for Quick to basically like be the source of truth there. If you have a multi-person team and multiple people are going into that console and you have to kind of together figure out what the strategy is here, FinOps Agent, because it lives in the AWS account, is something that is more transparent and more kind of cross-visible and collaborative. So you guys as a team can come together, figure out exactly what you want to monitor on, configure those, share the responsibility of maintaining them within FinOps Agent, and use it that way. So a lot of that discernment is based on the people in seat and how you're managing this as well.
Yeah. Yes. And so I do want to encourage people to go try this. Someone's put Hadley in the chat. It's free for now. It is in preview. They're eventually, we're guessing we're going to have some kind of fee for. So in terms of pricing for all of them, it's going through these. So at the moment, yes, FinOps Agent is free. Expected to have a pricing in the future. So I would start to kind of roll this out gradually, maybe introduce people to it, but kind of control where it is, because I'm not sure how the pricing, if it will just flip and suddenly you're paying for it. So we don't want it to be a cost spike. So maybe kind of control this with different IAM permissions, who needs to have access to it. The quick desktop stuff is going to be wrapped around into your quick suite licenses that you probably already have with things like Kudos. So if you're already paying for Kudos licenses to be able to have dashboards, and you have the enterprise or professional level, you can already start to use quick desktop. So there's already like a bracket of spend. So if you're because I know a lot of FinOps teams don't have a lot of budget to buy licenses and stuff like that, so that's already kind of contained into something. And Kiro has a massive free version where you can use lots of free credits. You can also pay for a more enterprise level of it. So if your developers start to really depend on this as a way to build, then you should have a paid version. But if you're a FinOps practitioner and you're starting to kind of get started with it, and you want to try out things, like I try out a lot of something needs to be, I need to see what it looked like to change my code to optimize. Like, what does that look like? You won't max out your credit, so you can try it, those different elements.
Yeah. And another reminder, it is in preview right now. That means that we are actively accepting and soliciting feedback on the experience. So now more than ever, if you give it a try and you say, this is great, but I wish it had XYZ, shoot us an email at costoptimization@amazon.com. We will make sure that gets to the product team. We want to make sure that we're building the right solutions for our customers that actually make life easier. So tell us what will make your life easier.
Amazing. It's fun I got the email address right, which is a big thing.
I know. Look at me go.
Really good.
200 episodes, I finally learned.
Exactly. A question as well. Would this analysis, this is going back to Kiro, would this analyze my Terraform stack, for example, suggest changes to optimize along with metric data and apply the best suited instance class? Yes. So it will do that, but it does, when you ask for best suited instance class, it needs context, right? So if your application information is sitting off somewhere else separate from your infrastructure information, it doesn't know, right? It only knows as much as you tell it. So if you have all the information and you connect it to maybe CloudWatch and get your metric information or Compute Optimizer, then that's how it will make the decision. It will make the decision best for you, but it needs to be given data. And will do, because you're going to send me an info about your Kiro usage. But I want to make sure we have a little time for the end. Let's go into a little bit of last focus on comparing these three. So how do you, if someone came to you today and it's just like, how would you explain the difference between these three things?
Yeah, I'll keep it like very short and sweet in terms of just like mental memory. Quick assistant, like just desktop assistant. Think about something that is helping you type. Kiro helps you develop, and the FinOps agent helps you understand what's going on in your AWS environment in a centralized way, similar to Cost Explorer, cost anomaly detection. So I think about like shareability and in console to out of console automation for that one.
Perfect. And if I feel like the names are going to help you remember these things. Quick understanding. Quick, yeah, it's going to be quick. It's going to give you results quickly. Kiro is someone's name, so imagine this like a developer, like they're a smart developer. This is work you're giving someone to do to change something, to make an action. And if you think about the FinOps agent, it's for FinOps, right? We're not trying to. It's not loads of things. It's an agent that is really good at FinOps. All right. And so use it for your FinOps workloads to automate things you don't want to. And that's the big call for everyone. If there are things you are doing in your day-to-day work that you are like, oh, I hate having to make this thing or do this thing all the time, that is where I want the light bulb to go off. And for you guys to think, oh, I'm going to try using one of the agents. Our big thing is to try all of them. You can use at the moment all of them for free. You have Quick for free, using the free out of AWS account version. Kiro is, you can have free licenses, and for FinOps Agent, you can have the free one in preview now. So go and do those. Go and try those in the next month. Once you do, let us know which is the best one. I'll come back to this episode and drop a comment saying, I'm a massive Kiro person now. Like, let us know. Tell us what we want. Matt said, what is AWS look for tech interns? There's a lot of great tech programs. I know a lot of kind of graduate schemes to happen around the world. We have one to Dallas where we can start emerging talent. We also have apprenticeships in England, so it kind of depends where you're from. But if you look at the AWS jobs platform, that will have the most information on there for you, Matt.
And
Brilliant.
like every Amazon hire, we focus on people who live and represent our leadership principles. So definitely make sure that you brush up on those.
Yeah, tell people watch his show. You say I do all this extra work. Go and watch Keys. That's what people do. Brilliant. Speaking of Keys, I just want to show I've got merch. Look, if anyone wants merch, let me know. Like,
is that the shirt that Catherine's
this is it. And then I got it on the back.
Oh my gosh.
And it's got stories, concept, solutions at the end. So finally got a shirt made after all these years. So if anyone wants a shirt, let me know. We can get up a little shop and put the money to charity or something. Okay, last bits of housekeeping. Subscribe to the Keys YouTube channel. This is where, like I said, we're going on a potential hiatus for who knows how long, but sabbatical. I will be trying to produce sabbatical, yeah. But we will be producing content. So I even just posted a video based on a session I'm doing tonight. So go check out this channel. It has hundreds of videos that can help you get started with yours. And it also has all of our recent ones that are just streamed onto AWS, onto these playlists, as well as my other shows. So these light blue, this is how you find the 2 shows from us. Join. Oh, this is an event I'm doing today. If anyone's in London and a women in FinOps, come to the event for the Women in FinOps thing. I'm doing that today, just FYI. Join the Customer Acceleration LinkedIn group. This is where we'll share amazing content from the team that we work in, whether that's being live streams, blogs, and other information. Go and join there. Go over to Builder Center to see all the content. So we do summaries of these shows, and grab that QR code. You can see lots of information of our past episodes. There is a big thing for everyone to have a look at. Steph's been busy. I'm always busy.
She's a busy lady.
Yeah, but last kind of things, this is like we said, we're going on this little bit of a hiatus for now, and I just wanted to say, in case this is the last time we're saying it, thank you so much for watching, everyone who's watching over the years. Savanna, thank you for being such a great collaborator. Also throw back to Alex and Biddle and John, who have also been kind of co-hosts on this show. Thanks to Jeff, who's been our producer for the last few years. And yeah, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, that email is going to be existing forever. Hopefully until it takes it away, and check out the channel where we keep all that great content. But we'll still be producing things. We're not disappearing from the FinOps world. We just might be in a different format. And once we know about it, then we will let you know. But Steph, anything else you want to say before we finish up for today?
No, I think you covered it. Bye for now.
Well, yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And we'll see you all somewhere on the internet or at an event or somewhere in the world at some point. And thank you so much for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye.